Give us an update on how camp's going and your position group.
I think camp's going pretty well. Obviously, guys just got to pay attention to detail. It's just the little things. Just trying to get those guys to understand the little things matter. But I do think we're getting there. But it's also depth, So we're trying to build our depth a little bit too. Make sure there's some guys that came in late that are still a little bit behind. So we got to catch those guys up. But I do feel good about the group overall.
What's the conditioning level like? And cornerbacks usually are in pretty good shape, I guess.
Yeah, well, they know they got to be in the best shape on the team, especially depending on what we do. We plan on running around a little bit, so I think we're decent, not too bad. Again, it's that second group that came in that maybe didn't spend the whole time in the summer with us. We got to catch some of those guys up. But I want to say, for the most part, we're hanging around. We're doing all right.
Today was the first padded practice. Cornerbacks aren't always necessarily known for hitting, but how's your group in that regard, I should say?
Actually, this is probably the biggest corner group I've ever had before. So physicality isn't really the issue with us at all. I feel fairly confident when it gets down to making tackles and things like that we should be pretty solid.
You have a lot of guys that are switching between corner and safety.
No, if anything, our guys will have some corners and we'll have some nickels. So they'll be like that overhang, whatever, to the field, setting the passing straight, things like that. So we got a couple corners that are playing that nickel spot for us.
And how, without listing them depth chart-wise, how sorted out are? And is Thursday going to be big towards that?
Yeah, I really would rather wait until after the scrimmage. And my guys know, usually the scrimmage, we talk about separation day, because some guys practice and then, again, there's different segments, but now when you get into a game-like situation where there's 3 and outs, not 6 reps, 7 reps, now you could really use that energy in a game-like fashion. If you really do your job early, life gets easier, or it's gonna hit like how it's hitting now, where we're taking 6 reps in a row, which at times could be misleading. You know what I mean? It's like that sixth rep on that deep ball, he might get beat, but his legs aren't under him. But if we're in a real game situation, there's substitutions and there's all type of things that can help us with that. So really, until we get to a scrimmage, I would probably backpedal on that.
Coach, you're going against an offense day in and day out that's going at warp speed. They are ridiculously fast. That's got to just help you, doesn't it? 100%.
And again, when you're talking about getting in the best condition as possible, it does that. And that's why scrimmages is a better evaluation. Because the tempo, we got a pick, ran it all the way back. That same group sprinting back, and now he's throwing a deep ball on him. So again, it's been healthy for us because we have to be in the best condition as possible. For the corner room, it is a blessing, especially we got some tempo teams coming up. So I think it'll be easy.
When you're dealing with corners, they just run a 9 route on you. They run that guy off the field and bring in a fresh set of legs. That's got to be tough on your corners.
No doubt about it. But again, just like we talked about, man, it will only help us in the end. That could easily happen in the game. And I tell guys, I can't be subbing all the time. It has to happen only once in a blue moon. So you got to be able to sprint at least twice, cover a couple deep balls, and win both of them. We got a chance to get off the field.
Has base defense become nickel now?
I can't. I wouldn't really. Really, what it's based on.
Can you play without 5 defensive backs anymore?
I think in the game, it's so spread out now that, it's based on personnel. What are they coming out in? We might be completely different if we play a team that's 12 personnel.
Like Navy.
No doubt about it. So I think it's going to be more based on what they do than what we do. We'll be prepared for whatever they come out in.
Could you speak about what you've seen from Braxton so far as he's assimilated himself into a new program?
Again, he's been doing well, but there was a time frame when he needed to be here in the summer. So again, he missed probably a couple weeks. He actually has been upward trend. So in the beginning, he had to just get his legs under him. I started him getting a second win right now, so I feel really good about where he's at.
He's going to catch everybody's interest. A guy from Nebraska. Just what's he do well? What do you see kind of him contributing to your secondary?
I think for the most part, he's a vet. He's a guy, he's experienced. He's played a lot of college football. So when we're talking about ball, he understands it. You know what I mean? He understands what's going on, where the weaknesses in the defenses and things of that nature. So I think that helps him. You know what I mean? And then obviously he's long and he runs pretty well. So those two things help anybody, right? But for him specifically, he does a pretty good job for us.
And this may again be too early to ask you, but is there a leader or leaders that have sort of asserted themselves in that regard?
I want to say for the most part, I want to say Ben Knox has been playing really well. He's been playing at a high level and just being really consistent. I think AB has played at elite level as well. I think he's doing his thing now. Obviously both of those guys still have a lot of work to get done. But right now, I feel pretty good about those two guys.
With as much passing and yardage that goes on these days, you know, like if you hold somebody to 430 yards, it's a good defensive day. Sometimes there's always been a mentality cornerbacks had to have, but even more so now, just you got to be just unshakable, not take it personally, come right back. Even more now these days with the way the ball goes.
Well, the way that I look at it is the guys know the times when the pressure's on us and the times when the pressure's off. I think the D coordinator does a good job of mixing it up enough to where the pressure's not always on us. So it really depends on the call, but we got enough within the system that it doesn't always have to be that way, you know, and hopefully us as a staff, we do a good job of putting them in position to make plays. And I think that overall will help the group out.
Still better have convenient Alzheimer's if you're a corner, right?
Yeah, I mean, all of them think they're the best, and I can't be mad at that. You know what I mean? From the last guy to the top, but I promote that and push that because if they don't believe in themselves, who will, right? So they got to believe they're the best.
Have you seen a big jump in Ben Knox since you've had him?
I have, especially just from the beginning, moving on through the spring, and then he started running with the ones, and I started to see him take off. Now, the biggest improvement I've seen is just his hands. In the spring, there were a lot of times it was bouncing off his hands. He had some opportunities to make plays. He didn't make them. He's making those now, and that's the part that's scary. You know, now you can be a corner that when they do throw at you, you make them pay for it. You know what I mean? As opposed to just getting a pass breakup. Now it was turning into interceptions, and that was something we focused on at the end of spring.